Fast fashion refers to a contemporary approach to clothing production and consumption characterized by quick turnover of clothing collections and low-cost trendy garments. In this system, fashion brands rapidly produce and release new designs, often replicating the latest runway trends at affordable prices.
However, the fast fashion industry has come under scrutiny for its social and environmental impacts, such as exploitative labor practices, as I mentioned before,
Yes.
particularly in developing countries. And additionally, the industry's rapid production and disposal cycle contribute to significant environmental problems.
And as consumers become more conscious of these issues, there is a growing movement towards sustainable and ethical alternatives to fast fashion. And to know more about this matter, we are going to be talking or discussing this issue with fashion scholar, educator, and also consultant, Dino Augusto. Good evening, Dino. He is right here in the big plasma. Hello.
Hello, Dino.
There you are.
Hi. Good evening, guys. How are you?
Great. Thank you for making time to be with us today virtually.
Right.
First of all, I know we have played a clip regarding fast fashion earlier, but could you please explain again to us about fast fashion? What is it in a more simple words, maybe, so that people who don't know about this could understand easily?
Okay. Well, fast fashion is actually a business model. So beforehand, fashion is produced fall, winter, spring, summer,
Okay.
right? And then fast fashion moved it into 52 days and 52 seasons. So along the year, you have produced every week a new collection. Simply because to produce more demands and to produce way much more supplies for people to think that they are out of trend within a week. So that is the approach of the new business model in this industry, because in the fashion industry, it's supposed to be spring, summer, fall, winter, but now it's become faster. And within the faster production, they produce this with fast manufacturing, 24-hour pollution through manufacturing, and cheap products and cheap fabrication. Then after that, if they're not sold in the store, they throw it away as a waste. That's a big issue of what's happening with fast fashion or fast retailing. It's the production business model.
I see. And how does it affect the consumer buying behavior and our attitude towards buying new products, especially the fast fashion products?
Okay. I think starting from about 15 years ago, when the group of fast fashion are now launching the ideas of fast trends, you were pushing yourself into something that is not you, which fashion is supposed to be projecting design, art, and appreciation of fabric, appreciation of performance. But now you are appreciating more like I am out of trend all the time. So then you have to buy it. You have to buy it every week. Every time you go to the store, you feel like, oh, there is something new in the store. So that's why this movement is really changing the consumer behavior. When 15 years ago you buy clothing maybe once a month or once every 6 months, but now you feel like you have to buy it every week or even faster than a week. So that's like the movement and the change of social response.
So, yeah, Dino, I think I have one follow-up question related to our topics this evening. I mean, you've mentioned that, let's say normally the fashion trend should be according to the, let's say the Western countries, according to their seasons, with four seasons, and then maybe for Indonesia, 2 seasons maybe. And you've mentioned earlier as well that the trends become, let's say, severe because it become a weekly fashion trend.
Yeah.
And actually, what is the current situation right now? I mean, in terms of the situation here, the issue of fast fashion in Indonesia and globally, the latest trend actually.
Okay. Yeah, the latest trend in Indonesia, I think it's a little bit more slowing down due to the pandemic before, but before the pandemic, it's still the same. You feels like clothing, it's becoming the commodity that you have to fast buying because of social media, because of technology, because of whatever the entertainment industry is supporting us and pushing us to be trendy as like them. You want to be like your popular stars, or you want to be someone else which is in television, and everything is just changed without appreciation of fabric, without appreciation of design, without appreciation of what you wear. You are wearing your clothing simply because of the trends and simply because of what the suppliers actually have in the store. And then our society is changing because every time you celebrate something, you feel like, hey, I need another clothing, I need another dress, I need another, I need another celebration to do. Then it's a new clothing. You got promoted to unique clothing, and then you start on having money, social status, and then you show it through clothing, which is not really what this industry is all about. Beforehand, it was appreciation of design, appreciation of art, fabric. You love it. You love your clothing, and then you wear it throughout the year. But it is not like that nowadays, especially also Indonesian, because Indonesian is really judging people throughout what you wear, right? And then it's face value, and then it's normal in Asian countries because we appreciate respect and we appreciate status and appreciation of look. But then it changes throughout the time due to the supply itself.
I see. I would like to dig deeper into the process of fast fashion. What are these companies doing from the start, from the designing process, the production process, until the clothing reach the market? Could you please elaborate about this? Because I don't think many people know about what's behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
I would like to know, especially about the design. Do they still have a designated designer to design their products? Because earlier you mentioned that before fast fashion, it's all about the appreciation of art, about design. But what about in fast fashion?
Yeah, this is a really, really important question that everybody needs to know, especially the public. Because the process itself is needed to be 2 weeks. The latest, you have to be in the store, right? And then it's impossible to do research and impossible to do designing. So they start the design with replicating. Nowadays, you can call it as an inspiration or do. If you can see in the store, it's like a copy, not even inspired anymore. It's a copy. So they copy the big designers, the big fashion design and fashion houses every spring, summer, fall, winter fashion weeks. Within the fashion weeks, within 2 weeks, it's already in the store. So then they take out all the ideas from the big brands, and then they replicate it in-house. We call that a vertical integration. So they have the design, they have the sampling, they have immediately sending the sampling to the poor countries, and then they produce in the poor countries, which is cheaper and fast. Okay, and then after producing, and then they move into to the whole production system, which they have to find a cheap fabric, right? Affordable fabric, which contains of chemicals, contains of polyester, contains of everything cheap. So then they can produce it with affordable price instead of having it organic. And then after that, they use a chemical 24 hours factory, because 2 weeks you have to be in the store, right? And then after the factory produces every 24 hours means that it impacted to our carbon emissions. And then they send it logistically active every single day through water, to flights, through trucks, and everything is just needed to be fast into the store. And then after the store, within 2 months, they have to go on reduction. If it's not sold in the store, they have to go in and sale immediately within 2 months. So the producer or the production is like 52 times weekly basis inputs, and then you have to throw it away also monthly basis in output.
Wow.
So this is like the whole chain of whatever it is you call that. And then for the most important, you send the production into the cheap countries or the poor countries, and it's not legal. They're not doing it ethically because it's underpaid, Kids is not paid because there's a lot of cases and a lot of really, really horrible cases that you can watch everywhere, and you can read the news that they're actually not paying everyone that paid to your clothing with the proper money. So that is like the whole chain of
Wow.
fast retailing.
But if they're not legal, they were being paid not according to the standard, then why are they still operating? The government doesn't know about
Yeah.
this, or what's the situation?
Yeah, I think the terms illegal in several different countries. You have the loophole. You always have a loophole in every single country. And then you go to Bangladesh, let's say,
Yeah.
About food and sanitary. It's not put in a white paper. Of course, you have the loophole to go into cheaper production, and then the agencies, or sort of like you call that an agencies of production. They tap into different countries that they can get the loophole. Of course, Indonesia, in Bandung and Garut, there is a lot of factories too that produces for fast fashion. They might work in like several different angles to find cheaper production, as long as they are okay and they're safe with the call it so it's so legal. For the Western countries, for the normal cities, we call ethical payments is like in a certain level standard, but some other places you can work it out within a lot of decisions and a lot of angles.
I see. So we've talked a bit about labor condition in the fast fashion industry abroad. But what about the condition in Indonesia? Is it also the same?
Yeah,
Especially we
the
see
situation
many
in-
online brands.
Yeah, online brands, I would say if it's so cheap, it's definitely produced in China.
Okay.
Because our countries are it's quite limited on a factory that produces fast fashion due to I think our legal system is still very much tight on some other places in the areas. But we have the issue in Indonesia. We have the issue of waste and chemical waste to majority of our river. And then there's limitation of production of clothing because we are not that cheap actually. If it's Indonesia, so they move to other countries. But what happened in Indonesia is the waste itself and the chemical that they use is already contained in, if you can check Sungai Citarum and some other places in West Java, it's horrible and horrendous and deadly. So that is the issue of getting big corporations or big companies that move around the world, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's abroad. They really have their own way to produce. But the big fast fashion brands are actually tapping into different agencies to produce this production, and it always depends on the demand. If the demand is high, then the production is getting higher and higher. But nowadays in Indonesia, the demand is slowly slowing down due to the competition of local brands and also local production, which is really good for us. That's why Indonesia is not one of the countries or cheap countries to produce anyway.
I see.
Right. So it's getting interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
So sorry, producer, I have a lot of follow-up questions for this. Because once I had let's say the experience when I was in the UK, I was one of the buyer of this fast fashion because I need we need to buy because I went there with my family. I need to buy like the proper one for the four-season type clothes. And then you've mentioned about the countries because I saw it on the label. It came from Bangladesh. And then once I saw on the news coverage as well the consequences for the environmental because I saw this let's say the garbage of the fast fashion. It was moved to one of desert in Latin America, for example, until because this is it produced the huge waste for the fast fashion. So maybe you can enlighten us again. What is the consequences economically and environmentally? So we know. So then we more aware about this issue.
Okay, I think as a consumer, we have to realize that the waste itself, it really goes to landfill. 85% it's not discarded anywhere. It goes to landfill. Means that you send it to Ghana, you send it to New South Wales, Australia, or you send it to Latin America, and some of them are also throw it away in China Sea, which is going down to Indonesia, to Manado. And this is a situation that we are actually the second largest polluters in the world, the fashion industry. The second largest. So this thing has already been, it's already been in the news all the time that the discretion, and if you want to waste this clothing, everything chemical clothing, you can't just burn it away. Where is the country that wanted to burn that? No countries want it, right? And then you go to the cheaper countries, you go to the poor countries, and then throw it away. And then the system of throwing away is also getting more and more issues, which is some of the countries are taking away to discard it, but it's actually not been discarded in that country. It's just throw it away in the landfill. So the big issue everywhere in the world is the waste in the landfill. Because anyway, it's ended up like a province. You can check in Ghana or like in New South Wales. It's like the big province of only throw away back clothing.
Okay.
So the consequences in social, for the people that is unethically producing, and also the people that lives around the waste, it's already been diagnosed with a lot of new type of diseases. And also within the production process, the chemical itself kills a lot of people. And also the place that they work, it is really unethical, which already collapsed in Rana Plaza cases in 2002, 2012, and it's getting crazier around the globe, but nobody really cares, and no government really want to tap that, because the demand is there. You guys are still buying those clothing, you know, so the demand is still there. That's why the supply is still working. This is the issue that I always try to educate every people. The movement is not coming from the white paper from the government, or even for the stop that the European Union wanted to stop the fast fashion countries. It's not about that, because it's everything about the consumer. We need to change the consumer behavior. We need to change the consumer education and consciousness to buy something. You have to think 300 times to wear one clothing. Are you sure you're gonna wear that for 300 times? If it's not, then you are the core problem of fast retailing.
All right. So that is the best solution to hopefully stop the fast fashion business model. Now, before we close this, I just would like to ask you, do you have any, not tips, maybe for us?
The proposed solution, for this issue?
Not the solution, actually, because he have mentioned it just now. The key is in the consumer behavior. We have to, I think, Dino, you have to educate more people so that people would understand about this whole situation and would think 300 times before they buy a new clothing. And what I was asking before is that how do we know if a brand is using fast fashion as their business model? Because sometimes we don't know, and not a lot of people can do a thorough research like you, for example. So how do we know whether this brand is ethical or not?
Okay, so I think the first thing to do is one more time is to be conscious. You ask yourself whether you really need that product, or you really need to buy something.
Okay.
Conscious is like the fundamental. And then the second, if you want to ask which brand is actually fast fashion or which brand is not, you just ask whether the movement of the collection is more than 4 times a year. Spring, summer, fall, winter.
Okay.
And then the second, appreciation of fabric. The fabric performance, you check out on the fabric, you hand feel the fabric, and then you feel it. If it's comfortable for you, if it's really cotton or if it's really wool, your skin will react. If you feel, oh, this is really not comfortable, it means that it's chemical or it's polyester, which the price is slightly lower.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I said don't shop that fast, because if you don't shop 3 months, 4 months, you have more money to shop more expensive and more organic
Yeah.
products.
That's
why
true.
I
That's
said
actually
go
logical.
back to consciousness.
Okay, so those are the 3 easy steps. Oh, that's applicable, very
Yep.
easy.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dino, for
You're most
the
welcome.
interesting discussion. We appreciate it so much. Hope we can invite you
You're most
again
welcome.
someday to see today,
Sure.
maybe in person next time.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much.
would do so. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Dino.
Thank you.
Bye for now, you know.
Bye, Dino.
Wow.